Touch is the only sense that cannot be turned off. You can close your eyes, you can cover your ears, but you cannot escape the sensation of touch. When a woman wraps her arms around you, something ancient happens in the brain. It is not just skin against skin, it is a transfer of energy, a chemical exchange, and a silent confession. Most men walk through life completely blind to this language. They feel the hug, but they miss the message. They mistake a polite formality for desire, or worse, they mistake a desperate cry for connection as a casual greeting. You are here because you have felt that confusion. You have felt a lingering touch and wondered, what did that mean? Today, we are not just looking at body language, we are dissecting the female subconscious. We are looking at the biology of attachment, the psychology of safety, and the evolutionary signals of attraction. By the end of this analysis, you will never feel a hug the same way again. You will know exactly where you stand without a single word being spoken. If you are ready to uncover the truth behind her touch and master the psychology of human connection, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. This is the deep dive you have been waiting for. To understand what she is telling you, you must first understand the machine she is operating, the human body. When a woman hugs you, she's triggering a specific neurochemical cascade. The primary driver here is oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone or the cuddle chemical. But this is where the nuance lies. Oxytocin isn't just about love, it is about trust and safety. In evolutionary psychology, females have historically been the more vulnerable sex physically. Therefore, their subconscious has evolved a highly sensitive radar for threat versus safety. When a woman initiates a hug or fully accepts one, she is momentarily lowering her biological shields. She's exposing her vital organs, her chest, her abdomen, her neck, to you. This is not a trivial act. If the hug is stiff, brief, or distant, her amygdala, the fear center of the brain, is still active. She is guarding herself. However, when she melts into the hug, when you feel that audible exhale against your chest, she is communicating that her nervous system has switched from fight or flight to rest and digest. She is using you as a biological anchor. This is the first and most critical distinction. Is she hugging you to be polite, or is she hugging you to regulate her own emotions? If it is the latter, you have entered a tier of psychological intimacy that is rare. She is telling you, you are my safe harbor. But we must look deeper than just safety. We must look at the pressure variables. The skin is the largest organ in the body, packed with mechanoreceptors. Deep pressure touch stimulation, a firm, tight hug, stimulates the vagus nerve. This lowers heart rate and reduces cortisol stress. If a woman hugs you with significant strength, squeezing you tight, she is subconsciously trying to maximize this vagus nerve stimulation. She is hungry for the chemical release that your presence provides. This is often a sign of deep emotional attachment or a desire for a romantic bond that goes beyond friendship. A friend gives a light squeeze to acknowledge presence. A woman who desires you gives a deep squeeze to merge presence. You also have to analyze the duration. A standard social hug lasts about 3 seconds. This is the socially acceptable window. Anything less than that is dismissal or discomfort. But the moment a hug crosses the 3-second mark, time dilation occurs. In the realm of female psychology, staying in a man's personal space, his intimate zone, 0 to 18 inches, for longer than necessary is a high-risk behavior unless the reward outweighs the risk. If she holds you for 5, 6, or 10 seconds, she's waiting for a reaction. She is testing your durability. Can you hold her weight? Do you pull away first? If she lingers, she is bathing in your pheromones. She is subconsciously analyzing your MHC, major histocompatibility complex, genes through scent to determine genetic compatibility. A lingering hug is never an accident. It is a biological interview. Now let us move from biology to geometry. The way her body aligns with yours is the most accurate lie detector in existence. So you can fake a smile, you can fake a laugh, but you cannot fake pelvic alignment. This is the A-frame versus the I-frame theory. In an A-frame hug, her shoulders touch yours, but her hips remain far apart, creating the shape of a capital A. This is the universal sign of platonic boundaries. By keeping her pelvic region distant, she is subconsciously neutralizing any sexual tension. She is telling you, I trust you as a friend, but I do not view you as a mate. This is common in professional settings or with male relatives. If you consistently receive the A-frame hug, you are firmly in the friend zone. Contrast this with the I-frame or full body contact hug. This is where her torso is pressed flat against yours, from chest to stomach to hips. This removal of space is significant. In female psychology, the stomach and pelvic area are arguably the most guarded regions of the body. Allowing full contact here signals a total lack of inhibition. If she presses her hips against yours, she is engaging in haptic mirroring. She is aligning her center of gravity with yours. This suggests a desire for merging. It is an overtly sexual or highly romantic signal, even if done subtly. It says, I want to be as close to you as physics allows. Pay close attention to the pelvic tilt. If she tilts her hips slightly away, she is unsure. If she tilts them in or rests her weight against you, she is signaling possession. We also have to discuss the lean-in dynamic. In many interactions, the woman will hug while keeping her feet planted firmly in her own space, leaning her upper body forward. This is a bridge hug. She is bridging the gap but keeping her foundation separate. This indicates she likes you, but she is not yet ready to commit to your space. However, if she steps into your space, placing her feet between yours or right next to yours before initiating the hug, she is invading your territory. In the wild, animals only enter the den of another if they intend to stay or if they are challenging for dominance. In dating psychology, stepping into your space is a sign of submission to your masculinity and a desire to be enveloped by it. Now we descend into the specific mechanics of touch. If the body alignment sets the stage, the hands are the actors delivering the lines. Hand placement is the most active form of communication during a hug because hands are the primary tools we use to manipulate our environment. When she places her hands on you, she is subconsciously trying to mold the dynamic of the relationship. Let us begin with the neck and the nape clasp. This is arguably the most potent signal of romantic intent and high-level intimacy. If a woman reaches up and wraps her arms around your neck, interlacing her fingers behind your head or resting her hands on your nape, she's doing two things. First, she is exposing her entire torso to you, leaving herself completely unblocked. Second, she is anchoring herself to you. By hanging onto your neck, she is forcing a height dynamic where you are the pillar and she is the one being supported. Psychologically, this is a signal of willing dependency. She's essentially hanging her weight on your frame, testing your stability. But there is a deeper layer here, the control of the head. In biology, controlling the head is controlling the animal. When she plays with the hair at the base of your neck or scratches the scalp during a hug, she is triggering a massive release of oxytocin and dopamine in your brain. She is grooming you. In primate societies, grooming is reserved only for close kin and mates. If she is doing this, she is marking you as hers. She is creating a sensory memory in your mind that associates her touch with extreme relaxation. Contrast this with the shoulder pat, the pat of death. We must address this brutal reality. You lean in for a hug and she pats your back. Once, twice, perhaps 3 times. This is the pat of death. In the language of nonverbal communication, the pat is a signal of release. It means that is enough, let go. But why is it so damaging to romantic prospects? Because the back pat is paternal or maternal. We pat crying children to soothe them. We pat dogs to praise them. We pat comrades to encourage them. We do not pat lovers. The motion of patting creates a rhythmic interruption. It breaks the flow of intimacy. It says, I am awkward, or I view you as a sibling. If you feel the pat, she is subconsciously trying to burp the relationship of any sexual tension. She is neutralizing the moment. However, do not confuse the pat with the rub. If her hands move in a circular motion on your upper or lower back, or if she runs her palms up and down your spine, the meaning flips entirely. The spine is a central nervous system highway. Rubbing the back is a nurturing, comforting, and highly intimate act. It signals that she wants to soothe you, not release you. If she rubs your lower back or slides her hands under your arms to the latissimus dorsi muscles, she is exploring your geometry. She is feeling your width and strength. This is an evolutionary fitness check. She is tactilely confirming your masculinity. The circular rub indicates she's present in the moment and wants to prolong the contact. It is a sign of empathy and deep affection. Finally, consider the chest barrier. If she hugs you but her hands rest flat on your chest, creating a wall between you, pay attention to the tension in her fingers. If her hands are relaxed, she might just be resting. But if her arms are stiff and she is pushing slightly, she is maintaining a buffer zone. She is protecting her heart center. This often happens when a woman is unsure about the man or feels the hug is too intimate for the current level of their relationship. She's literally keeping you at arm's length while socially complying with the hug. The position of the head is the position of the ego. The head houses the brain, the eyes, the mouth, our primary senses. Where a woman chooses to rest her head during an embrace tells you exactly what emotional need she is trying to fulfill in that moment. Let's analyze the chest rest, the heartbeat sync. When a woman buries her face into your chest, usually tucking her head under your chin, she is engaging in a behavior known as sensory gating. She is shutting out the rest of the world visually and acoustically. By pressing her ear against your chest, she is listening to your heartbeat. This is primal. The sound of a steady, slow heartbeat is the first sound a human hears in the womb. It is the universal sound of safety. By seeking this position, she is signaling a desire for regression to a place of total safety. She is surrendering her vigilance. A woman will not bury her face in the chest of a man she fears or mistrusts. This position says, I am tired of being strong. I want you to be the shield for a moment. It is a massive display of trust and submission to your protection. If she stays there and exhales deeply, she has effectively handed you the reins of the interaction. Next, we have the shoulder nuzzle. If her head goes to the side and she buries her nose into the crook of your neck or shoulder, the dynamic shifts from safety to chemistry. The neck is a major source of pheromones. We all have a unique scent signature. When she nuzzles your neck, she is inhaling your biological data. This is a compatibility check. If she lingers there, inhaling deeply, she is intoxicated by your scent. This is almost exclusively a romantic signal. Friends do not smell friends in the crook of the neck. This area is also highly vascular and vulnerable. By placing her face there and exposing her own neck in the process, she is engaging in a mutual display of vulnerability. It is a soft spot. If she kisses or grazes this area with her lips, she is testing the waters for arousal. She is seeing if you react to her proximity. Then there is the forehead to forehead, the soul gaze. This is rare and intense. If, during or after the hug, she pulls back slightly but keeps her forehead pressed against yours, she is blocking out everyone else in the room. This creates a closed loop of intimacy. Your eyes are too close to focus on anything but each other. This is not just about attraction. This is about deep emotional synchronization. It is a confrontational intimacy. It says, I see you and I want you to see me. It requires a level of confidence and comfort that usually only exists in established relationships or moments of high passion. If she initiates this, she is demanding your full attention. She is asking for a connection that goes beyond the physical and into the spiritual or emotional core. Conversely, consider the look-away hug. If she hugs you but turns her head sharply to the side, looking over your shoulder at the room, scanning the environment, she is not with you. She is physically present but mentally absent. This is the social butterfly hug. She is checking who else is there, or she is eager to disengage. Her neck is stiff, keeping her face away from yours. She is avoiding the intimate zone of your face and neck. This is a formality. It is a transaction, not a connection. You must also look for the burrowing motion. Sometimes a hug starts standard, but then she pushes her head deeper, rubbing her face against you like a cat. This dynamic movement, burrowing, is an attempt to get closer than the clothes allow. It is a sign of high distress, seeking comfort, or high affection, seeking merger. She is trying to maximize surface area contact. She is marking you with her scent and covering herself with yours. It is a possessive, claiming gesture. Most men focus entirely on the upper body, the arms, the face, the chest. This is a mistake. In the field of nonverbal communication, the legs and feet are considered the most honest parts of the body. Why? Because they are furthest from the brain. We are taught from childhood to control our facial expressions and our hand gestures to be polite. But we rarely consciously control our legs. The legs are directly wired to the limbic system, the primitive brain responsible for the fight or flight response. Therefore, her legs will tell you if she wants to stay or if she's planning her escape. Let us analyze the leg hook or the pop. You see this in movies, but it exists in reality. During a standing hug, if she bends one knee and lifts her foot behind her, or wraps one leg slightly around your calf or thigh, this is a massive signal of comfort and playfulness. By lifting a leg, she is voluntarily compromising her balance. You cannot run away on one leg. Psychologically, this is a surrender of stability. She is relying on your body to keep her upright. This unbalancing act signals that she feels physically safe enough to be unstable in your presence. If she hooks her leg around yours, she is entangling herself with you. It is a gesture that mimics the mechanics of mating, intertwining limbs to prevent separation. It is rarely done with platonic male friends because it breaches the boundary of the lower body, which is a sexually charged zone. Contrast this with the tibial block, the knee shield. If you hug a woman and you feel her knee pressing firmly against your thigh or groin, creating a rigid structure between you, she is building a fortress. This is the knee shield. Even if her arms are around your neck and she is smiling, if that knee is locked between you, she is subconsciously guarding her reproductive center. She is creating a physical limit to how close you can get. This often happens on first dates where the woman is not yet sold on the man, or when a man initiates a hug that is too aggressive or too close for her comfort level. The knee is the brake pedal. It says upper body contact is allowed, but lower body merging is denied. We must also look at the foot direction. Before and during the hug, look at her feet. Are they pointed directly at you, or is one foot angled toward the exit? This is the intent vector. If her toes are pointed at yours, her full attention is on you. If her feet are wide apart, a wide stance, she is claiming territory and asserting confidence. But if her feet are close together or crossed while she hugs you, she is making herself smaller. This can be a sign of shyness or a desire to be protected. However, if she steps between your feet, the interlocked stance, she is effectively trapping herself in your zone. This removes her ability to easily turn and walk away. It is a commitment to the interaction. A woman who wants to leave will never place her feet in a position that hinders her own movement. Finally, consider the pelvic retreat. We touched on hip alignment earlier, but the retreat is a dynamic action. If during the hug you step in and she actively pushes her hips backward, sticking her glutes out, away, creating a void in the middle of the hug, she is repulsed. This is the tent hug again, but the active retreat of the hips is a visceral rejection of sexual contact. It is the body's way of saying, do not touch me there. If you feel this pull away, you must respect the boundary immediately. Pushing past a pelvic retreat triggers the amygdala's threat response, killing any potential for attraction. The hug itself is the story, but the release is the conclusion. How a woman exits your personal space tells you how she felt about being in it. The disengagement protocol reveals the lingering effects of the oxytocin spike, or the lack thereof. First, analyze the friction drag. When the hug breaks, do her hands drop straight down, or do they drag along your body? If she pulls away, but her hands slide down your arms, grasping your biceps or forearms before finally letting go, she is exhibiting separation anxiety on a micro scale. This drag increases the time of contact. Her nervous system is trying to hold on to the connection for the last possible millisecond. It is a tactile goodbye. This creates friction, literally and figuratively. If she squeezes your bicep or holds your hand for a split second as she steps back, she is creating a bridge to the next interaction. She is telling you, I am letting go because I have to, not because I want to. Compare this to the spring back or the push. If she releases you and immediately takes a large step backward, restoring a significant amount of distance, 3 to 4 feet, she is resetting the social equilibrium. This is the spring back. She felt the intimacy was too high, and she needs to neutralize it by reestablishing a safe zone. If she pushes gently on your chest to break the hug, she is actively controlling the duration. She decided when the hug was over, not you. This is a dominant or defensive move. It signals that she is guarding her autonomy. A woman who is deeply attracted to you will rarely be the one to break the hug first, and if she does, she will usually stay in your intimate zone, within 18 inches, rather than springing back to the social zone. Then there is the post-hug anchor, the gaze. Watch her eyes immediately after the separation. This is the verification check. Scenario A. She breaks the hug, steps back, and immediately looks at the floor or scans the room. This indicates the hug was a formality. She has already mentally moved on to the next task. Scenario B. She breaks the hug, steps back, but keeps her eyes locked on yours for a beat, 1 to 2 seconds, and smiles. This second scenario is critical. She is looking for your reaction. She wants to see if the hug affected you the way it affected her. This is a feedback loop. By holding eye contact, she's maintaining the emotional connection even after the physical connection is broken. If she bites her lip, plays with her hair, or adjusts her clothes immediately after letting go, she is experiencing a flush of nervous energy, a sign of arousal or high attraction. She is preening herself because the hug made her self-conscious in a positive way. Finally, look for the double clutch. This is rare but powerful. You hug, you pull apart, and then she reaches out and touches your arm or shoulder again. This is the aftershock. The physical contact was not enough for her. She needs one last hit of dopamine. It is a subconscious confirmation that the connection is still live. It's her way of saying, I just want to make sure you're still there. If you get the double clutch, you have successfully imprinted on her nervous system. You now understand the mechanics of the body, but a hug does not happen in a vacuum. It happens in a context. To truly decode a woman's touch, you must apply the theory of haptic relativity. Simply put, the meaning of a hug changes depending on where it happens and who is watching. First, let us analyze the audience effect. When a woman hugs you in front of a group of friends, her family, or in a crowded public space, she is performing a social ritual. She is under the pressure of social compliance. A hug here might be exaggerated to demonstrate social cohesion. She might hug you tightly to show the group that she accepts you, not necessarily because she desires you. However, the tell here is the public versus private delta. If she gives you a polite A-frame hug in public, but a lingering, full-body I-frame hug when you are alone in the car or the hallway, this discrepancy is the signal. The private hug is the truth. The public hug is the mask. If the hugs are identical in both settings, her feelings are likely platonic. But if the intensity spikes the moment the audience disappears, she is hiding her attraction from the world but revealing it to you. Next, consider the high adrenaline environment. Hugs that occur during high-energy events, concerts, sporting victories, scary movies, are chemically doped. This is called misattribution of arousal. If she hugs you wildly when her favorite team wins, she is flooded with dopamine and adrenaline. She is using you as a grounding rod for that energy. Do not mistake this for pure romantic interest yet. The test comes when the adrenaline fades. Does she still touch you when the excitement is over? The quiet moment hug is infinitely more valuable than the celebration hug. If she hugs you when there is nothing to celebrate, when it is just a Tuesday afternoon and things are boring, that is a hug born of genuine affection, not environmental stimulus. We must also discuss the barrier environment. If you are sitting at a table or standing behind a counter and she goes out of her way to navigate around the obstacle to hug you, she is demonstrating high effort investment. A woman who is indifferent will wave or give a verbal greeting if there is furniture in the way. If she physically navigates a maze to get to your personal space, she is prioritizing the tactile connection over convenience. This is a subtle but powerful indicator of high interest. She's removing physical barriers because she wants to remove emotional ones. Now we zoom in. Past the arms, past the legs, to the face, and the invisible chemical signals. The face usually tells the truth for only a fraction of a second before the social mask slides back into place. These are micro-expressions. Focus on the closed eye response. When a woman hugs you, does she close her eyes? This is binary. Open eyes. If her eyes remain open and scanning the room, she is not fully immersed. Her brain is still processing external visual data. She is guarding. Closed eyes. Closing the eyes is a physiological attempt to reduce sensory input to focus entirely on the tactile and olfactory sensation. It signifies trust. By closing her eyes, she is voluntarily blinding herself. She is telling her nervous system, I am safe here. I do not need to watch for threats. A woman who squeezes her eyes shut tight during a hug is trying to imprint the moment into her memory. She is savoring the feeling. Then look for the post-hug pupil dilation. As she pulls away, look immediately at the black center of her eyes. Oxytocin and dopamine cause the pupils to dilate, expand. If her pupils are large and consuming the iris immediately after breaking contact, assuming you are not in a dark room, her autonomic nervous system is screaming attraction. She has no control over this. It is a biological response to a pleasurable stimulus, you. Now we must address the most primal sense, olfaction, smell. Women have a more developed sense of smell than men, and it is directly linked to the emotional center of the brain. During a hug, she is smelling you. She is detecting your MHC, major histocompatibility complex genes. Evolution has wired women to be attracted to the scent of men who have different immune system genes than they do to ensure healthier offspring. Pay attention to the inhale maneuver. If she buries her nose in your neck or shoulder, you might hear or feel a sharp, deep intake of breath. This is not accidental. She is sampling your pheromones. If she likes what she smells, you will see a specific reaction. She will likely press closer or hesitate to let go. This is olfactory hooking, as if she pulls away quickly or holds her breath, you have failed the chemical test. Furthermore, if she comments on your smell, you smell good, or what are you wearing? She is consciously validating the biological signal. In female psychology, scent is the strongest trigger for memory and arousal. If she is inhaling you, she is addicted. Finally, listen for the auditory exhale, the sigh of relief. When she wraps her arms around you, listen for the breath. A sharp, short breath indicates nervousness or excitement, but a long, slow, audible exhale, a sigh, indicates a release of tension. This is the decompression signal. It means her cortisol levels are dropping because of your physical presence. You are acting as a biological sedative. She is not just hugging you, she is using you to regulate her stress. This is the foundation of deep emotional attachment. If she sighs in your arms, she feels safer with you than she does alone. We have dissected the biology, the geometry, and the psychology of the embrace. But what does it all mean? It means that words are often the least reliable form of communication. A woman can say, I love you, out of habit. She can say, I'm fine, out of politeness. But she cannot fake the dilation of her pupils. She cannot fake the synchronization of her heartbeat with yours. She cannot fake the release of tension in her muscles when she feels your arms around her. The hug is a moment of truth. If you want to master the next level of nonverbal communication, decoding her eye contact and the hidden signals of attraction versus manipulation, make sure you are subscribed. We delve into the windows of the soul in the next analysis.